carry an inherent conflict of interest. Last night, the president-elect tweeted this, quote, "Prior to the election, it was well known that I have interest in properties all over the world. Only the crooked media makes this a big deal." While the location Trump's properties may be known, the depth of his business ties in foreign countries have trouble.
It started with what was billed as a courtesy call. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe slipping in a back elevator at Trump Tower to meet the president-elect. Trump's daughter, Ivanka, in attendance. But neither reporters nor their cameras were at the meeting, which reportedly included a gift to Trump of a golf club like this one, a gold Hanma Beres driver worth nearly $4,000. Then came the two businessmen from India who currently own Trump-branded properties south of Mumbai. According to the Trump Organization, it was just another social call. And for a sitting president to run a business, it's a question of optics and ethics. A CNN analysis shows Trump has business dealings in at least 25 countries, including Saudi Arabia, China, Azerbaijan. A month ago, there was worry that the Trump brand was being destroyed by his run from office. But since November 8th, things have changed. And presidential ethics experts are saying the only possible solution to end all of Trump's conflicts of interest are for Trump to sell it all, put the money in a blind trust, and end the Trump empire.
Well, of course a blind trust can work, but you have to sell the assets. You can't just put the assets in a blind trust and pretend you don't own them.
Here's why that's probably not going to happen. That brand. It brings them more rent money for office space, condos, and hotel rooms. The brand also comes operations almost like a franchise. Business partners buy in because it sells, and the Trumps stay involved to make sure the brand doesn't get tarnished. Daniel Levinson, a South Florida developer, took over a failing Trump property and fought to keep the Trump brand because he wanted to make sure he had access to Ivanka and Eric Trump in almost every part of the deal.
We wanted the association. They want the continuity of brand, and that works on both ends. It's profitable for everybody.
In a Fox News debate earlier this year, Donald Trump said instead of selling off the brand, his solution is to pass the brand to the people he has groomed to take it over. All named Trump. Not exactly a blind Trump.
All right, that was Drew Griffith reporting, so let's talk about this. CNN political commentator and former RNC communications director Doug Heye is here, along with Democratic strategist and former Clinton White House aide Keith Boykin. Welcome to both of you. So, good morning. So Doug went over the world. Only the crooked media makes this a big deal. Is he right?
Well, certainly we all knew about it. It was one of the reasons that he was elected, because he was a different kind of candidate, a different kind of Republican, certainly. Obviously, a lot of questions have been coming up over the past couple days over certain meetings. What I would say is we knew we were electing a different kind of person. This is a transition not just into a new administration conversation 13 weeks from now. It's a different conversation.
But you would think there would be some sort of plan by the Trump transition team, you know, to solve these conflicts of interest so the voters wouldn't have to worry about things like, oh, pay to play, right, Keith?
Sure. And look, pay to play was obviously something that was used very effectively against the Clinton campaign.
That's right.
This is why 2 weeks in, these are questions that in 2 months, I think, will be very much more serious questions when he's President Trump. I'd look at, you talked about Florida earlier. Look at what Rick Scott did in Florida, putting things into a blind trust so that he doesn't have those questions as he's been governor. That's a good avenue.
The reality is Donald Trump could be the most crooked president we've had since Richard Nixon, and he's on the road to making that happen right now. If he wasn't a real billionaire before he was elected, he certainly will be by the time he leaves office, because elected official in recent history. Not only should he put his his family business into a blind trust. He should also release his tax returns, and he should divest all of its income from foreign governments, because that is a violation of the U.S. Constitution. And he's in danger of violating the anti-nepotism law of 1967 by appointing his family members to the transition. This guy just today admitted that the Trump Foundation was violating the IRS laws. I mean, how much more corruption does it take before the American people wake up and realize that he's not going to drain the swamp? He is the swamp.
Well, here's the thing. I'm just going to come up with a simple example, Doug. Donald Trump has I think it's a $900 million mortgage at a Chinese bank, right? So if he really wants to renegotiate trade deals concerning China, there's that bank loan hanging out there. So how can he assure the American people that that bank loan will make no difference at all in the way he deals with China?
Well, I think that's why exactly a blind trust would be a good thing. But
he's not going to sell everything off and create a blind trust.
Well, let's keep in mind two things. One, he's not the president yet, so attacking him as if he's president and subject to the laws, the ethics laws that federal officials have to deal with, is just not the case right now. Two, there are steps that he can do, such as a blind trust, that would be helpful. As long as that's out there, there will still be those questions. But I find it comical to hear people who said for 2 years there's nothing to see here with Hillary Clinton. She's just going to be a wonderful president.
Come on,
no
Doug,
ethics issues at all.
Ridiculous.
That we're already calling corruption for somebody who's not president. I didn't interrupt you, so please do not interrupt me. Carol, I didn't interrupt anybody. I'd appreciate the same courtesy.
Okay, finish your thought, Doug.
My point is, we've had, for 2 years, people say there's nothing to see here with Hillary Clinton. And now the attacks on Trump, he's already the most corrupt president when he's not even president yet. Again, we are 2 weeks into a transition. We're transitioning not just to a new administration, but from a businessman Trump to a President Trump. Let's give him the opportunity to get to that point. And if we're having these questions 2 months from now, 2 years from now, those are entirely different things.
Okay,
how much longer do we need to wait? The guy was meeting with Indian business partners. He's bringing his daughter, who will run his business, into a meeting with the Japanese Prime Minister. He's bringing his daughter, who will run his business, into a phone call with the Argentine president. He is involving his family, who will run his business, and picking the people who will regulate his business. This is the level of corruption we have not seen in this country in U.S. history. And the idea that you want to wait, again, who said who wasn't going to interrupt the other person? Again, if we're going to allow this to happen and not raise the red flag every time we see it, then we are in danger of moving toward a kleptocracy. And I don't think the American people voted for that when they said they wanted to drain the swamp. I don't think Trump's people said they wanted that when they said they wanted to drain the swamp. Trump is appointing lobbyists, those very Washington lobbyists he said he didn't want in his government. He's appointing them to run his transition team. Tell me there's not some hypocrisy in that. This is not about Hillary Clinton. It's about Donald Trump and his failure to live up to basic standards of ethics and decency.
I have to leave it there. I have to leave it there. I have to leave it there. He's going to do an interview with the New York Times, and I'm sure the New York Times will pose some of these questions to President-elect Trump, and hopefully he'll allay all of our fears. Doug Heye, Keith Boykin, thanks to both of you. Still to come in the newsroom, undocumented immigrants fighting to stay in the United States legally. Now they'll protest from New York to Washington.